After months and months of work, tonight, the Mystic Racing League gets all set to go to begin its quest for a championship. Or better yet, the part of the season where it's so critical to be consistent. Welcome to tonight's coverage of the MRL and the Slim Chickens Cup Series, as this evening we begin the chase for the championship. Tonight, we're at Watkins Glen International for this evening's race, the Heat Wave 176 at the Glen, here on VSPEED. Welcome to tonight's coverage. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Bradley Cooper, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Tonight, the pressure is on, not only to survive a road course race, but to be able to try and keep the pursuit for a championship up. Tonight, 16 drivers start their quest for a championship, Bradley.
River Hayes leading it by 25 points. And in this chase format, there was no guarantees. There was no win and you're in. This is raw format. These drivers performed all season. They're going to have to reset and do it all again for these next weeks.
Keep in mind that there were a couple different adjustments you may notice compared to throughout the season. Isaac Wilson out due to injury. Beckett Brown had a scheduling conflict. Zach White also had scheduling conflicts. Elected to relinquish their postseason spots. Gavin Hinson and Colin Bollinger had served penalties / suspensions during the season, which means they relinquished all of their total bonus points picked up during the campaign. And it's big to see Bollinger back in the field. He's been suspended for a few months, was reinstated as of August the 8th for competition. That's a long time off.
That's a lot of weeks to miss, JP. And you know, everything you did during the time you were on that racetrack, it's all undone. You're starting over. So when you get into those situations, it's one of those, you post-process, you come back next year, you got to figure out, what did I do wrong? And most of the time, it's just the attitude, the approach. Get back in it next year.
Of course, when we were talking about this race tonight as well, Watkins Glen's going to be an interesting test for the drivers tonight. The first of 10 different tracks on the schedule. Of course, Watkins Glen, well, technically speaking, we aren't using the boot, but we can tell you this. We do have a very tight fuel range tonight of 40%. There's a chance drivers have a lot more panic on the gas as we go on tonight.
That's a mistake on my part there in the production team. So I'll take full responsibility for that. There's the bus stop. There's what we know and love. 7 turns here at Watkins Glen. The elevation change about just before 998 feet, 304 meters. But there's a long sweeping carousel here in turn 5 on the outer loop. That's the spot there that you set up turn 6 and 7 for those last lap moves. We've seen a lot of photo finishes. At a road course, this place is notorious for it.
Definitely is, especially when it comes to the challenges we expect for a track like this tonight. So it should be a fun test for a lot of these competitors tonight. Find out if they're going to avoid contact, avoid major troubles as we go on throughout the evening. Drivers are just waiting for the session to advance over, by the way, before we get things going for the race. Usually we start seeing the drivers making their way to the cars by this point. We are waiting for the race control for their discretion when we are all set to go. Obviously, there's a lot of competitors here that you're going to have to keep an eye on tonight. Of course, you can't talk about a road course race in this series as of late without talking about Ashton Crowder. He's expected to be one of the main drivers here tonight after he missed last night's Caswell Glass Company race.
And of course, JP, I'm just joining you here. It's been a while since I've been part of the Cup Series, but that is a name that is familiar to me. The 44, of course, sitting on pit road. He's shown the stats. He's been able to perform everywhere we've had to turn to the right. And I think it'll be no different here tonight, but a little bit deeper maybe on practice times, not showing his hand just yet. And I think that's a wise move because this place, it could come back to bite you. I think with the stage and the way everything's set up tonight, you just want to sit back and let the thing develop.
So with that being said, the drivers, as you can see, are starting to get ready for the grid. They have had things advanced for the cars, Remember, 72 laps going to be your distance tonight for our competitors with stages at 20 and 40. So a pretty chunky stage 3. And there were fuel concerns to make it 15, let alone 20 laps last night in the Castle Glass Company Series season. And tonight, this car has an even lower fuel number. So there is a strong chance every stage we have to pit. But with that in mind, these drivers already finished up qualifying as mentioned, and it's just about time to find out who races. It's Ashton Crowder on the pole tonight with Colin Kinzer in second spot here this evening.
So much for sitting back there, JP. I thought he was going to take his time. In practice, he wasn't looking that fast.
Well, he stepped it up in qualifying by 3/10. Anthony Murillo Jr. and Clayton Good are amongst those inside the top 4. Good starting the race from pit road, however. In the top 5 in qualifying tonight, Ryan Rose will be next to Wesley Burke. They'll look to try and avoid contact into the 90. Ricky Paz, one of those who made it in as of the past few weeks with 7 starts on the season. Jonah Bryant in 8th. Rounding your top 10, you have Ryzan Baker and Dustin Lewis in the order.
11th spot's going to go to Skylar Dixon. River Hazo is going to start in 12th. 13th to Dylan Culkins. Michael Cole will start in 14th. Jack Piffner is going to start in 15th position. Sakata will start in 16th spot. 17th, Mac Colin Bollinger. Rave Henson in 18th spot. And rounding out the top 20, Jesse Boston. Aaron Underhill in the 21.
Meanwhile, in 21st, Elijah Maupin alongside Michael Daly, who will drive the 52 car tonight in one of the open entries. Brad Nelson's right behind in terms of qualifying speed. Start from pit road also. Part of the drivers here just behind the 21st and 26th spots. John Ullman, meanwhile, will start down in 24th here this evening. If you throw it back in their row, that's where you'll find the last driver on time, Reggie Kime, along with Brad Collier, inside the top 26. Then the rest of the field, Zach Roethlisberger is not at the track at the moment. We'll see if he'll make it in time to run some laps. Christian Barnes will start towards the tail. Also towards the tail, Alex Young and Zach White. Scheduled to start 29th and 30th. You also have Joshua Gillen in the order. Zachary Kane missed session. That's why the numbers look different there. Quick keys to victory, Bradley, as we're almost set to go.
Quick keys, turn right and do it well. You got 7 turns, 7 opportunities to make a mistake, and you happen to over and over again. Set your stage, set your pace, and don't overdrive this car.
Happy to have you with us for tonight's coverage of the Slim Chickens Cup Series. Mystic Racing League starting its postseason action for the Cup cars here tonight. We're ready to roar for the Heatwave 176 at the Glen. The shade overtopped the racetrack, cooling the surface, but the green flag waves were underway from the Glen.
This is the key moment here. We're going to go 4 wide into turn 1.
Oh, and
car
that's
sideways.
Not gonna work. Baker's around in the middle of the racetrack, so is Paz. More cars are around, at least 3 different spins, and as you would expect, the caution is out because they piled
Track
up
block.
into 2.
The 18's around. That's a stopper right there. I would put this down as hair in the drain, JP. That is very quick action. Lap 1, 4 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, I think most people would say, were we expecting 4 wide in the opening corner? That's kind of hard to survive in a lot of cases here.
Trying to get the best angle of it here. But Justin, that is not what you want to see at the start of this race. The patience level was so thin, so quick. 99 got a run. There was just a little bobble there in the 3rd row, and everybody tried to take advantage of it at one time. You see the 93 pays the price for it. But that's just such a quick move, and it's so early. I mean, we drove, what, maybe 700 feet down the front stretch, and then boom.
Yeah, that 90 did not work out for anybody there. You see the contact with Paz in the background. Then they piled up here. This is more so the stack up. Boston amongst those who blocked the track Welcome back, Colin Bollinger. He's also one of those collected immediately.
And that's a tough break. Just coming back and you already got damaged. Now you're behind the 8 ball. You're trying to recover this race right out of the gate. We haven't even started a lap under green. And you're already sitting on pit road thinking, okay, I've got to repair this car. I got to make time. And while it is a big racetrack, you can get it repaired. There's still a lot of work to do in this race.
If you haven't noticed, by the way, there is an issue because the pace car hadn't even stopped yet when they pulled the caution flag. So several drivers are still queued up behind the pace car that might need wave arounds here. Crowder, for his sake, is still catching up to the field at the front of it. And it's going to get interesting how race control handles this, if they just allow the wave around or whatnot, because a fair amount of drivers didn't even get the chance to go around the track to catch up to the rest of the leaders. There they go as they get the clearance to go.
Yeah, it's a weird scenario there. Caution coming out. iRacing's time and scoring, it does have little gimmicks, little glitches here and there. But the pace car, of course, going to let these guys by. We'll keep them on the lead lap, and we'll reset like it never happened.
Well, this is going to be helpful for fuel mileage, isn't it? Because we're talking about concerns. There are drivers actually topping off here. River Hayes and Skylar Dixon actually came down here, as well as a couple others. So obviously, with the numbers that time, a few drivers are saying, you know what, I want to give this a shot.
Yeah, you were saying right around 15 laps was probably the max. And with this coasting around, while it is over 2 miles to get around this place, you're on the clutch pedal through the corners. You're just kind of rolling around. You come in, top off of fuel, just kind of a leisure around here. This could be an advantage for these guys.
And now, as they all get themselves into the queue, some of the air notes in terms of some of those up at the front of the field. Of course, Hayes with a big advantage coming in when it comes to this postseason effort. That's going to be extremely helpful to have a 25-point bonus. That's near half a race advantage. Crowder, for his sake, needs to make up what would be a race and a half after he had the summer of Crowder in the Caswell Glass Company competition and also a really good stretch in the Cup Series, including multiple different wins over this course of a short span. He picked up 5 wins and 8 starts.
Those are pretty good odds. I think that might be worth getting on and betting on, because if you look at what he's done just at the road courses, but then you say statistically you're 2/3 of the way there, right? And we're now at crunch time to 10 races. I'm taking the 44 in the postseason based off those numbers.
As they all get themselves getting ready towards one to go here, they did give Collier and EO a penalty, it appears, from pit road. Everyone else will hit the one to go, in theory, right here as you see the pace car moving to line. Kinzer last time out looked pretty strong, by the way, in terms of speed when it comes to memory. So I think that 20 machine might have a chance to potentially surprise a bit. Of course, the thing is, Daytona was last week. I'm talking more so towards the last appearance at a track like this. So there is the chance with him filling in for the 20 car here tonight, we see someone like Kinzer try and pull off an upset. Kinzer at Richmond ended up coming away with how things shuffled with a top 3 finish on debut.
You were talking about surprises, JP, and one of the standouts for me was Barnes in the 27, starting really deep in this field, electing to the back, and it's a long road. I know that this 27 car can perform. I personally have the experience of getting to drive for this team and Waterforce Racing, so I know that he is highly capable. The standard was set so high, I was in way over my head. So to drive for this team and to know the standard they set, this is going to be a tough battle. It's a lot to bite off here with the Domino's 27.
Hearing something may have happened involving Yun. I think Yun ended up getting near contact potentially with some of the drivers into the queue, but we are still okay. As Yun has to take an EOL penalty here.
The 7 to the back of the field. That's race control's way of saying pay attention during these pace laps. This is chase down. This is race 1.
I don't think there was contact, but I do, obviously, you have some of the team members from that group having to start at the tail as a result. Almost set to go to restart this race. To start lap
You say restart?
5.
This is the start to me, JP. This is the time.
Let's see. This is similar to what happened last night. Now tonight, we're all set for the green. We're back to racing. Nobody taking it 4 wide this time, but there are some blocks to hold on to 2 wide. And already, we're off to much further than the last start.
A lot of cars taking it out wide there in turn 1. But already, what you mentioned there with Kenzer, he had a really good exit there to turn 1 up through the S's to the top of the hill. He's going to have a really good speed in that Camry. But someone in the 48, Reno Jr., kind of blocked that move, kind of pulled it side draft.
Tar train going through. We have had a crash. Reggie Kimes hit the Armco barrier. A couple others have stopped at the bus stop, including Elijah Maupin. We're still green, though, after 2 different drivers had issues, and Reggie Kime loses oodles of time.
All the way back to 30th.
And obviously, that's going to be extremely costly. That's now last on the track. Rottmansberger did not join the session. But the first lap complete. It's Crowder who holds on in front. And obviously these first couple laps are going to be critical for how well your Eagles are going to be.
And you have to be careful here in the early going. Now that we had that fuel adjustment, you can kind of run this a little harder, but it's still questionable, JP, if you can make it all the way on fuel to stage lap 20. I don't know. It's going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit dicey, I guess you can say. I'm expecting people potentially having a pit the way this car works on the fuel mileage. But we'll find out for certain once we get past 10, 15 laps in to arranged last night in the O'Reilly/Caswell car. Good. See him having a picture of where Henson, amongst those you've seen in the backdrop, moving ahead. Interesting enough, Baker is already up to 12, and Cole is trying to hold on in front of his battle, trying to reel on in Fiftner.
Fiftner got a little bit of damage there. I'd say that happened right at the beginning of the race. That 4 wide incident and that track blocker, but the 55 has something broken. You saw there that car snapped free, and he's taken all the way to the tire barrier.
And able to keep it straight, but hit the barrier. 55 now with heavy damage.
Oh man, that car's broke.
Of note, River Hayes also is dealing with the broke race cars. Fiftner, caution flag is out, and it involves Henson possibly here. Yes.
There was a lot happening there in turn 1. A lot to unpack. You saw, we watched the replay there. We'll back this up for the 39 one more time. You go back into turn 1, you see the 55 shoot it off there, broken car. 39 just over the rumble strips. Early to the throttle, sends it around. There was another car here, JP, and help me out here, because I know there was someone else that kind of had a problem through 1.
Yeah, not quite sure. Let's see. So everyone else made it through to the sequence of corners there, obviously. There's a lot of people arguing about the call on the caution, actually, on the radio, as I don't think anyone else spun there.
Yeah.
But we can definitely tell you the previous corner, Barnes and Hayes were a part of those with contact that had a spin there that didn't trigger a caution.
All right, let's see if we can find that. And
would be in the final corner right before the caution was thrown.
back a little bit more.
It goes back even further.
There it is. Hey. Thanks for walking me through that. That happened way before all of that in turn 1.
Yeah, this could have been more of a caution, if anything, because this collected your championship points leader and gave him damage on the front end. Oh, and a hard hit there for the 52 to the wall, too. As you can see, you already had defensive maneuvers there, it looked like, for Daly, and then it boiled over here with the curb.
The 27 got the right rear on the curb there. It sent it left. Not egregious, but that happens here at Watkins Glen, and unfortunately it happened to your points leader, so Michael's gonna have to bring it into pit lane with heavy front end damage. And most likely this car gonna be behind the pit wall for a bit.
And everyone's come down pit road as a result of all this, by the way. So there goes the strategy for stage 1, possibly for the fuel mileage, as these drivers all got themselves around to the racetrack and are already down pit road. Still see on the replay how much they try to work their way around the racetrack, and Bradley obviously potentially and can confirm fuel only for just about a majority of the field here. The only driver didn't come down was Maupin, but expecting him to come down with the 2 to go mark here coming up.
I pled probably going to help here in the point situation, but what I'm most paying attention to here, and I'm sorry about this, a little out of my element here. Still working on. It's been a while since I've done a Cup Series race. I think I mentioned that. But JP, when you look at some of the names that started deep in this field, this is not their bread and butter, right? You've got so many drivers that could come out here and throw out a first-time win or just improve upon their statistics, like Crowder, that points lead doesn't mean much right now. This is the whole reset. This is the reason why the chase format exists. And I think Watkins Glen is kind of the perfect storm to shake things up.
It absolutely is, and don't forget, this is not the only race on a road course in this chase, too. Unlike in real life, the Charlotte Roval is also on the schedule, for example, a part of those races, and we have at least 3 different full-distance events in the final 10 races on top of it, including back-to-back weeks starting next weekend.
The Cup Series, trying to keep it unique, also keeping it real with the counterpart in real life. I think with what Ashton has done, though, keeping this car out front, avoiding the carnage, Colin Kenzer keeping honest, keeping the 44 up to pace. This strategy, though, for anybody that maybe wanted to play the fuel game or lengthen out this run, flip the strategy and not worry about the stage and kind of move on to stage 2. All of that's out the window, JP. Now everyone's kind of, well, with the exception of Muffin, you said he was going to come in, and it looks like 66 is staying out there, so this could be another one, which is going to be a shakeup.
I'm not sure why he's staying out on the racetrack. He's the only person who can't make it on fuel if it stays green.
Yeah, to my knowledge, it takes a track blocker to throw a yellow. It takes something dramatic.
And race control wondering why some of the drivers attempt to double up. They have to double up out of the carousel, remember, with the road course here tonight. per the way things work with race control. So, Elijah Maupin rolling the dice and then some here. The ideal machine. It's not one of those, obviously, in the postseason. We've seen a bit of him as of late. But now, the 30th place driver in points. Looking to see if they can keep the car up front and maybe get a caution or two to help them with the fuel mileage that way.
I believe I've seen that logo on a car over at Precision a time or two.
Maybe.
Maybe. This is a dice roll. I mean, again, you're relying on a yellow to fly on a track where the track steward is told only if, right? That's the script. Only if these things happen can that yellow come out. We try to run these road courses as long as we can because these fields get spread out. It's very difficult. We could have a yellow every 5 seconds. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes made. 7 opportunities to do so. So I think this is a big gamble for the 66 on fuel.
It's an absolutely massive gamble. Here, let's find out. We've already had 2 cautions here tonight. We still have half a stage to go. Crowder starting alongside Maupin. Maupin is the one who tries to bring them up to the green a little bit more forward on the overlap. Green flag is out underway, and Crowder got a better jump. Maupin didn't get a great fire off. Here we go. Lead is changed. And a crash already.
48's around. He's going to save it with a nice loop there, but probably not happy about that.
Anthony Murillo Jr., a driver in the chase, gets himself sent around. And as they all make their way through, Maupin trying to let cars go.
Oh no, and missed the bus stop there.
Again.
The stop penalty for sure.
That's 2 times already. 2 consecutive green flag runs. Crowder is off and away by 6/10.
And the Hornet's Nest continues. You go from about 14th on back. These drivers that maybe got caught off on strategy. You can see the 89 to the inside and turn 6. Car around hard into the wall. That's the 43.
Cole is in the middle of the track. Is that going to be a caution? They're piling up. Bollinger is in it. Hayes again is in it. Caution is out again. I'm surprised about how this is going here, but that's another caution flag and 2 more chase drivers amongst those collected.
Said it was going to be a shakeup, JP. I didn't expect it to be like that. There's the 66 missing the bus stop, taking his pause there and the penalty. But watch here into turn 6. This is where everything goes wrong. We were watching a little bit ahead of these guys, but the 43 just looped it. I mean, and you could go back to turn 1, the 48. I think we'll go back and watch that for a moment as well. Perfect 360, but watch right here.
But then looked like it might be okay if everyone tucked to the inside. No, that was not going to happen. Bollinger tried it inside. Hayes outside. Didn't work. Moreno Jr. actually spun again.
Yeah. And that was the result there of turn 1. We'll back it up a little bit further. Yeah, just a little bit more. Come on. You got this. There we go.
But Maupin was on the radio mid-contact saying, I'm sorry.
Man, JP, did you see that? In the middle of the field there, around 5th position. The 23, I don't know if he had doubts about his brake pedal going into turn 1 or what, but let's see if I can show you this. This is wild.
That would be Wesley Berg, I believe, that was on that start. Yes. Stack up, and then
there's a 48 making the loop just off the right side of your screen, but I want to show this on the blimp camera one more time. Look at the checkup here in the 23 and the 8. They made heavy contact. I don't know if there was a misshift there, but it sent them 3 wide. That was, I don't know if the restart just got discombobulated there, but and then of course you see the contact. That actually was not the 66's fault. I believe the 20 got to the inside and clipped him.
Yeah, and that all led into chaos, chaos, chaos. Here's a look again.
And watch the 20 here, I think ends up getting to the inside. And yeah, runs into the back of the 66. That's what sent the 48 around. I thought maybe that the 66 had missed the corner entry. And Maupin, of course, on older tires, so that was a possibility.
So, race control tonight, Dylan Brumley definitely being put through his paces here tonight. 3 cautions, and we have ran a combined 1 and maybe 3/4 of green flag laps so far. We've had a couple shuffles with pit road for lead changes, but outside of that, Crowder's maintained control, leading double-digit laps. Brian is amongst those who will come down pit road, and many others will take some service involved in these several different flurry of caution flags here. So obviously, what's the mentality when you have a race like this go the way it's been going so far?
Oh, I think the urgency kicks up a little bit, JP. You got the fuel strategy out the window. Now, this is in that realm of that short stint, the shootout for the stage. And if you're a driver that's in the chase right now, that got sent to the back or got damaged, man, I think the urgency is even higher.
And now, as about half the field pit this time, a lot of them taking repair damage this time. The next thought is simple. What's going to happen next? So look who's already made their way to 3rd, by the way, in the chaos. It's Ricky Paz is now in the top 3. One of those who runs for Votive. That is an open wheel team, and he's been able to make his way to the pack.
Started 7th, up to the top 3. It's a good day to capitalize. Again, these restarts, they've been wild, and I think if we get the field spread out, 3 or 4 laps is all it's going to take. I think we'll see some green flag running. Of course, we got the stage caution, so it goes right back. It's the catch-22 with having stages. We're going to reset this field, group them all back up, and then the strategy resets for that 20-lap stint.
And as this entire field gets itself sorted again, I want some of the chase drivers here tonight of note. We talked about Hayes. He's had a roller coaster of a night. Multiple different bits of contact here. He's one of those in the major damage block. Christian Barnes, after his contact, is up 17, down to the 11th position. Joshua Gillen is one of those supposed to be in the postseason, is in 21st. He ended up actually amongst those in the top 3 seeds entering tonight, interestingly enough, with the way he picked up the points. You also have Dustin Lewis, who did not appear tonight, or should say is in the order, but it's been that quiet for him. But he's up in the top 5 coming into this restart. Glen Goods in 7th. Zachary Kane had tech issues towards the start of the evening, and right now is amongst those we'll keep an eye on for later. His 51 actually never joined the session. Meanwhile, John Ullman holding on to the top 10 for the time being. Fifth Nerds had a roller coaster at night with his heavy damage. You also have Charles Robertson, who did not appear tonight, and no one took the 17 car for tonight. Reggie Kime, we talked about his roller coaster, not usually road courses, his forte, in 16th. Crowder, of course, leading. Anthony Marino Jr. involved in contact on 17th. Bollinger is down in 15th after his multiple incidents. Henson is down in 13th. We talked about Ricky Paz, part of those in the order. A few different drivers, if you will, shuffle and getting set to go coming up here.
Now I was looking at the big gainers here with John Ullman, Christian Barnes. That's what I would expect to see in this field. With Barnes electing not to take a time. Almost got the ultimate price for it though. You know, the 27 got buried deep in this field, got collected in, I think 2 out of the 3 cautions that came out had some damage from, well, not so much the caution that came out, but damage just before that coming into the final corner. So, you know, sometimes you gamble on starting in the back or maybe misqualifying, whatever the case may be.
We're coming up to 5 to go in stage 1 in what has turned into an attrition fest, if you will. Only 1 driver off the racetrack out so far, possibly 2. And everyone else will restart here. A little bit of tech issues for Burke. Here we constant issue there on the left side line. But the green is out. We're back to racing. Clean start up at the front, but look at the 20, Kinzer. He got a decent run and missed the corner. He goes wide as Crowder takes the lead and they spin again. Good, and Bollinger amongst those in the walls. Well, this bring out a flag. Bollinger letting the field go. We did not throw a caution this time.
They won a good also around. Collected quite a few cars. They're not done. There's still a lot of calamity up here through the bus stop.
All able to make it through, at least at the front of it. Dixon amongst those making some good inroads. Lewis making a pass. There's a look over there at Dixon in the days of Thunder Machine, looking to do well on a road course with it.
Again, if we can get a couple laps here, I know we have the stage coming up, but we spread this field out, I think you're going to see some of the drivers that deserve or have the time. 39's around in the background. Waterforce Racing driver Gavin Henson.
Having to back it up and get it out of the way. That was on his own while battling with John Ullman. And we have an error spinner down in the 90. Wesley Burke has spun it. And he's gone off the track also. Everybody's spinning everywhere.
And I was almost climbing to the door of Burke, trying to get him back going.
I'm hearing there might be a penalty for Colin Kinzer. Jesse Boston, actually, should say. As we see what happened to Burke.
Burke had a connection issue just before the corner and locked up the wheels. And so a lot of people don't know at home, JP, if you're watching this just as a spectator, when you have that issue, yeah, on our end, that car disappears like you just saw. It disappears, but he can't see everyone else. He disappears on their screen. They all disappear for him. So it's very difficult. He's having it again. Still a problem. Time around again.
Here we go again. Another spin for the 9. Now we're back up to get out of the way. We still have 3 to go on the stage as Boston serves the penalty. Right now, as pit road closes early, the rest of the field looks to battle.
Uh-oh. If pit road closed early, I think everyone's okay to make it.
I think so too. I don't think that's going to be a concern. My thought is going to be quite simply, does anyone make a major mistake here with less than 3 laps to go here at the Glen, and Crowder keeping control. Kinzer's the only driver keeping up with the 44 on the short run, it seems.
And keeping up is still separated by 4/10. The last time by was a 108.914, now a 108.899. But Kinzer did beat that time by just a couple hundredths. He is holding pace. I think if we race this under green for a few laps, Kinzer has the goods to get up there.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good tonight, to say the least. Killing amongst those who had issues at the back of the field moments ago, but the hillside, they work towards the bus stop. Kinzer, think potentially, well, as you can see, they pulled away 4 seconds first to third, by the way, in the span of 3 laps. I think that says a lot on what is expected to be happening here with the front runners, the road course speed you have to have if you want to win this one.
Well, in this mentality right now, with the way everything is shaped up, with the cautions falling the way they did, this is qualifying laps. This is go out here and run your best 2 or 3 and just see where the chips fall. You know you have that caution coming up. It's a guarantee. Then you come in. If I didn't say anything, Justin, I don't think I'm worried about it.
Here we go on the final lap of the stage. Crowder still controls it. Here's a look at the battles inside the top 10. Dylan Calkins, the 54 car here tonight. Looking to try and go up, and that looked like 3 wide for a moment. Dixon had to back out of it. Ryan Rhodes has kept the fight going. He's filling in for the 47 tonight.
Position battle, and again, that big spread there. Brad Nelson maybe had a problem coming into turn 1. Spins it around, loses about 6 positions here, maybe even more. There's the 23 of Burt going by. Freight train through the S's.
And all of them trying to steady out here at the rear of the field as they all make their way through. Coming up to the green, white checker flag should be coming up here at least. Up at the front, Ashton Crowder coming through the final turns. Able to maintain control and composure. Green, white checkered. Ashton Crowder wins stage 1.
I'm still waiting on the rest of this field to cross the line, but should officially be that win on stage 1. There's Skylar Dixon going across the line. It was pretty close there for 8th. Just a few hundredths of a second separating these drivers. But stage 1 complete here from the Glen, and it's Sakata. It's going to round out the top 10 in the 26.
Caution is now thrown with the top 10 secure. As you said, 44, 20, 99, 8, 48, 89, 54, 15, 27, 26. All inside your top 10. Close out stage 1. Your thoughts so far tonight?
I don't think you want my thoughts, JP. I think this was chaos there to start this thing, and I don't know really what to think. We're going to do it again. 20 lap stint. Hopefully these guys learned their lesson as far as the race etiquette goes, because there was a lot of take right out of the hole shot.
And as everyone tries to catch up to the field here, this entire group now being told to move to the right. They get ready to sort up to the pace car. And obviously a lot of the chase competitors have had some rough starts to this one. It's kind of what we've seen before in real life too in a lot of cases, whether it was playoff, whether it's chase. A lot of drivers definitely having a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to the damage tonight they'll have to fix.
On the bright side, though, it's a bigger track, like I mentioned there earlier. So you have plenty of time. Pacing around this track is going to take just around 3-4 minutes. So you have a lot of time to figure it out. Is it worth repairing? Do I come in, do the optional? Can I get back out there and maybe make up some spots, hope for the stage to come out, or heaven forbid we get another caution here? The admin has been working really hard tonight. Track steward there. And I believe this might be the first time tonight that we've had them. if
Yep,
I'm wrong
and
on that.
either way, as race control gets things sorted out here on what we're going to see, that's the interesting thing is, with other cautions, we haven't seen lap traffic yet. Oh, there was some rear trouble. Burke nearly ran off the racetrack there. He's able to keep it from hitting the Armco barrier, though, in the checkup.
Oh, whole field checking up all one time. Yep. I think it was just cooling the tires off, JP.
And as they all come down, only Marino Jr., interesting enough, doesn't pit this time. I think everyone else coming on down, as you would expect, to take some more fuel and or tires here.
Yeah, 4 tire sets available here, JP. I think it'd be crazy not to just take them here in case we do get a full stint of 20 laps. See a lot of left sides going up right away. I think everybody's on the same mindset, but Anthony Marino Jr. staying out, I think that's a play to get back up to where they started. The 48 had problems very early in this race and has since been out of this top 10. The 48 needs a break. This might be it.
Seen
Glen also.
Yeah, I was about to say, he stayed out. Dixon took no tires. Crowder, the first to take Goodyear Eagles out of this caution period. Roger Moppin had pit road issues, will also go to the tail. So obviously, a bit of an interesting race so far tonight. It's going to lead to some interesting conversations here. Might be a good opportunity with Crowder picking up a stage win. See if we can take an opportunity to speak with him here as we get geared up. Bring in your stage winner, Ashton Crowder, able to come away with stage 1. Ashton, do you have a copy?
I do. I gotta turn you up though for some reason. All right, I'm good. Yes, I got a copy.
First things first, roller coaster of a race tonight. How's it been feeling up front?
Better than being in the back for sure. We had that caution for the turnaround 39, unfortunately, and that kind of made a lot of us a little angry. So I think we were just trying to settle ourselves down the rest of stage 1. But yeah, it's been good. We've had a couple of pretty scary restarts. That's always fun, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, so hopefully just kind of do the same thing I did in stage 2 and try to maximize our points the best we can.
So obviously behind some cars here, one specifically is Glen again. Pitts coming at 1 to go. Obviously not going to have control of the field off the jump here. What's kind of the approach for stage 2?
Honestly, just be really patient. I never do super well when I'm aggressive, so I'll just try my best to get by these guys if I can. I don't think tires are going to play too big of a factor, so I think them staying out right here, I don't think that's a really big deal, personally. But yeah, you know, just try to play it safe. I mean, we saw earlier, guys getting a little aggressive on restart on the front row and make mistakes really easily. So, you know, I don't see any wood around me, but knock on wood, try not to do that and, you know, just be respectful, I suppose.
Slight bad news, by the way, the driver you've been working with tonight ended up leaving the facility during this interview. So
That's so true.
Good luck here for stage 2.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Ashton Crowder in the 3rd spot here tonight. So, obviously, it's important to mention that Dixon, again, took no tires here, but Marino Jr. roll of the dice here maybe to see what happens in the chaos.
Yeah, this is a little questionable on fuel. Again, these drivers are relying, this is not a guarantee if a yellow comes out. And we are pacing around, but it's taken almost 3 minutes to get around this place. They're still burning that fuel cell. I'm still questioning, you know, we saw it earlier with the 66, JP. It did not pay off.
This entire pack is just about geared up and ready to go back to racing. First time up at the front, Marino Jr.'s leading. Remember, that leads to points here, because there are points for lead laps and most laps in this series. Obviously going to be helpful in terms of the points situations here in this one. Field's making its way up towards the green flag. Barney with the flag. Green, green, green. Back underway. A good jump for the 48. Crowder already looking for second.
Stage 1 winner already making some power moves to get back to second.
Able to survive the corner. Everyone's able to survive the 90 this time by with no issues. On the bright side, this restart means the start for Zachary King's race. He's now in this session and just started turning laps as we came to green. So as everyone single files for the bus stop, we are now up a car. King, obviously not the plan to miss the first 20 laps.
23 laps down, already have the leaders coming into frame in the background. 23 of Burke's around.
And it's across the track into the barrier, and is that going to bring out a flag? No. Maupin cut to the inside and past Nelson and Bollinger to send himself through in the chaos.
Capitalize on whatever you can. 48 who stayed out. Again, what we saw earlier, trying to capitalize on a unique situation, and it did not pay off. Back to 22nd spot.
And obviously, things turning upside down here. Let's see what happened with now Marino Jr. down the order. This with Lewis hits a lot of curbing.
Was off the racetrack, and then later on out of the exit of the carousel, you're going to see the 23 go around. Not sure if there was contact here or not. Nope, just off into the rumble strips. This is where you saw Burke across long ways, and then the 66 is like, okay, I'll take these spots. Why not?
And then as they went into that same section, Marino Jr. ended up looping around into the sand trap here, Bradley. And now he's well down the pack with a fuel disadvantage.
Yeah, that's what makes it even worse is, yeah, right there you see it. Into the sand trap. You're going to lose more spots. More time gain. I think if you're the 48 right now, maybe a short pit would be the call. Run it out maybe another lap or two. Stay with this top 20. But I would undercut the strategy and see if 4 fresh ones would help.
Got to try something, especially now that he's down in 20th in the order. So you can see he's having to be very careful with drivers like Boston and a couple others. Tiptoe around the racetrack here. That being said, up towards the front, Dixon still holding on to what is now third. Kinzer has already made the pass. Now Ricky Paz trying to find a way to get on through.
Shout out to Dixon, though, in the 89. That's the first time today that we've seen anybody stay out on these pit stops and still maintain a decent position. Third spot and holding Ricky Paz at bay. Maintain a top 5. I think this is a good gain of 8 positions here for the 89.
Can tell you this, Marino Jr.'s strategies continue to get worse. He spun again. Now he's another 10, 15 seconds back of the nearest car. This was the bus stop as, for some reason, he was oh, that's why, because Boston had a tech issue.
Boston had a tech issue, but on top of that, right on board here with the 48. Look how shallow the entry is here to this bus stop to dodge that. And that's a lot to guess where somebody's going to be on a corner that's probably the most narrow part of the racetrack at Watkins Glen.
And now, as a result, Marino Jr. might be at risk of losing a lap if he has to pit here. Brad Nelson spins around again. Crowder still maintains up in front. Now it becomes the big part. You can see he's already backed off the pace of note by 2-3 seconds this time by. So he might be in a bit of fuel save mode, not needing to push the pace too much here.
I see no reason to push it either. I mean, you're Kinzer right now. Just hang pace. You're within a tenth or maybe 2 or 3 tenths faster at times. You're keeping that 44 honest. And there's a little right front damage on Crowder. I'm not sure where he picked that up. I'd say it was probably during that restart here for stage 2. That wasn't there when we were talking to him.
Yeah, it's been interesting so far. We've seen a little bit from up at the front, but as Zachary King just called for a pit stop, I think, making sure there's at least points on the board. See, he's already just trying to make sure no issues. Already wound down the order is at least past one car. One who didn't start, obviously, but as this continues on, some of the others like Christian Barnes are in some battles. This is amongst those in the top 11, 12 spots.
Now watch here with John O'Brien and the 01 looking to the inside of Barnes, going to clear into turn 1. Get to the outside of the 39 to do work for the top 10 here on the white flag, or 10 to go rather, for stage 2. And I think for the 01, this is trying to get back to where you started. You were up in that top 10 to begin the race, and with all of these flips on the strategy, JP, it's been tough to get back up there.
Really has, and right now, it's kind of proven. You can make up spots, yes, like 16 plus for Barnes and Young. You have 12 for Glen also, who didn't really put up a qualifying strong effort. But overall, if you want a chance to contend on a road course, you need to be at least up in the top 5 at minimum. The higher up you are, the better your chances. We've seen that with some of the drivers that have had a roller coaster of a night. Bollinger on the back of Burke, meanwhile. Kinzer is now falling back by 8 tenths nearly.
Last time by, not quite as fast. Still in the 109 bracket, the top 3, the only ones to do so. And really, across the board, you look at the fastest lap times here. I'll put that on the screen. JP, it's pretty clear to say who the fastest cars are. They're starting to rise to the top.
Pretty evident what we expect to see with less than 10 laps to go in the stage. And mind you, the interesting to me is going to be, what's the strategy going to be? We already have Bollinger. We already have Marino Jr., who just ducked down pit road this time by. So obviously, the big thing's going to be, do we have enough in the tank to go in our 10 laps? It would take us about 18, 19 laps on stints.
Well, optimistically, sure, why not? But I don't think so. I think everyone's going to have to come in. If you're riding on board with Kenza right now, you're seeing the lead car. That's all you care about. You're going to pit with him. You're going to do whatever you can to stay on the same stint. You've proven that you can have the speed to hang with Crowder. So I see no reason to try anything extra. Pit when they pit. What lap that is, I don't know.
That depends really on how well you've been saving under the cautions, I guess you could say. Kinzer continuing to keep up tire after tire, at least line after line, with Crowder backing up his pace by a little bit. Mind you, these two are the only drivers running the 109s at the moment.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. pretty clear. It's going to be difficult to get the edge here. Meanwhile, Sakata, 26 machine, made an appearance a couple weeks ago. His car has been doing pretty solid here tonight, hasn't it? Top 10 in the order.
7 spots gained, started back in 16, moving up to 9th. 26s look solid. There's a car, I believe, hit the safer barrier or the pit barrels just now.
Believe so as well. And was that indeed the 33?
I'm not sure if it was
No.
the 33. It was the 66 maybe.
We also had Fiftner cut through the bus stop a moment ago. Not through the bus stop, to the inner loop. So obviously, as River Hayes, the once those coming down, this has turned into chaos, hasn't it, for a couple of the competitors here. Obviously, that's a dangerous spot if anybody loses control of the pit entry. Baker. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that was I've had enough tonight. That might just be I'm done.
Throttle, car.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. Frustration. Go bowling. I think he got 10.
Let's call it strike. But while we answer a fuel question, there's a lot of people pitting right now. So with Rose, with Hinton, those are drivers 11 laps into the stint even, Bradley. That is a lot, really short on the tank, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the numbers, though, this is kind of where you split that. This would be the happy medium on tires. If you were going to take that gamble, maybe if you're outside the top 15, you would do such a thing. So that way, when we reset, you're in a better position. You just come in, top off of fuel, maybe gain some spots. But for these drivers up here, I think this is run it out. Run it till it's completely bone dry. No reason to blink right now. And you got battles a little bit scattered through the top 10. There's the 89 is going to blink next. Skylar Dixon down pit road here, lap 35.
It's the next to blink. He took no tires, remember, previously. And now he'll take the slow roll. May see him take tires, may take fuel only. We'll keep an eye on this one. That being said, Good, Calkins, as well as Byron also came down. And Brian should say. And you can see he is taking the tires, saying, I got to take some Goodyear Eagles. Take a 10-second stop off and away he goes.
Yeah, we got a few others in there as well. There's Brian hitting the stall in the 01 and worked his way up into the top 10 there. Left sides go up. Right side's probably going to go up. I don't see any reason to take just 2. So now it's in the leader's hands. When do they want to come in? We're sitting at 5 to go when we cross the stripe. Car smoking there. Coming to pit road. They're going to go out for another lap, and it's a showdown. It's heated up for the lead big time.
Kinzer trying to apply the pressure. He takes an air poke. Doesn't take the run. They are catching up the traffic that came out of pit road. Less than 5 to go to work with on the track. And obviously, it'd be huge for Kinzer to get an advantage up in front. He's yet to lead. Crowder's led 30, and Crowder's pitting this time.
Any announcement on that 20, or are we going to go one more lap? I think you would be crazy here, JP, to stay out on this racetrack. You've proven the pace. You have the long run. And the longest stage of the race is coming up here in just a moment. So I don't think I want to put myself in any situation where I might lose a spot or miss pit road. I'm coming in with the 44.
Here we go. Let's see what's going to happen here. 44. Let's see the cut. Kinzer staying low with them. They're both going to pit. As a matter of fact, no major gain up for Kinzer on the entry. Keeping it pretty safe there. They're both down the lane. Coming to 4 to go.
This will hand the lead over to Ricky Paz. in the 99. Car sideways in front of him, though. That's the 7 of Alex Young. Gonna move it out of the way just in time. That actually could have interfered with pit road for some of these lead cars as well.
Especially if it was stuck on the exit, possibly. Absolutely. Ricky Paz is the first one to stay out still on the track. Mostly everybody else, except for Reggie Kime, has pit. The 99 stretching. Reggie Kime's indicated this time, but look at that. Crowder actually built the gap. Yeah.
Big time. 1.5 seconds on the execution of pit road, and we're looking at 5.9 in the box compared to 6.5 seconds. That's where that translates. And the other thing that I was standing out, Ashton Crowder and Colin Kinzer pitted, and they didn't leave a single position on the field for that. So they were so far ahead that they could come in and take take fuel and leave, and they're fine.
For comparison, Paz just entered pit road right now, and they are expected to zip on by during the service. Crowder and Kinzer took the quick service. Lewis did as well. 7 seconds for Ryan Rhodes. The first on 4 is Dixon. There goes the 44 coming out of the final corner. Paz still in the box. Gets zipped on by as Crowder makes up the ground, and Paz, even with a 5-second stop, coming a ways back, in fact, right behind John Ullman for a box in with lap traffic. Down to 3 to go.
That's one sign about staying out a little bit longer. You could take less fuel. And the fuel calculator, and the way that iRacing works, it's in metrics, it's in segments. So you can't say, oh, well, I want exactly this decimal point of fuel. You get it in portions. And unfortunately, if you need a little bit over, you got to go to the next one and take all of it. That equals time.
Exactly. And a lot of these drivers, remember, might be, and very likely will be, pitting by the time we start at the next stage.
This is wild, JP. They're still out there and they're fighting, and the 20 has chased him down. Taking the lead back. That's half a second here. 2 to go. I mean, I'm impressed here with Kinzer. He is driving hard.
Here we go. Lots of the traffic moving aside. Crowder uses all the runoff space he can. Keep himself safe. Kinzer still yet to find a way to get actually to the bumper yet. Maupin just said he got a meatball flight. He's stopping at the bus stop. He's right in front of the leaders. Maupin goes off and goes into the bus stop and might miss it. Ooh. Yes, indeed. They'll pass by.
Close call. Maupin's actually going to tow it to pit road, I believe. But, coming up over the bus stop and hear that? You're coming out of the S's to 1 to go.
And now this battle going to stay pretty fierce as we come around towards the final stretch here. 1 to go. Stage number 2 coming up. Mind you, Crowder just realized he's been dealing with damage for the past little bit. We'll see if he takes time to fix the car. That, I believe, came on lap 28. So he's been dealing with right front damage. It's not hurting him, though. That was in a situation where it was with Zachary King on a checkup.
So that would have been the first lap that Zachary King was on the racetrack. Am I correct?
No, that would be around just before he came down pit road after contact with the leader.
Okay. I know it was late when King got in here, but we still got this battle for the lead, and I think Genzer's going to try the last corner pass. This is what we were talking about with photo finishes. Didn't quite set it up there through turn 5, though.
28 just pulled down and pulled out of the race. Wesley Burke as well. But in the end, as we get all set to take the green-white checker flag, Crowder sweeping the first 2 stages, gets it done again at the Glen. Green white checker for Crowder. Also throw on the mix, Kinzer rather, in the order. Paz, Lewis, followed by Rose and Dixon. As well up there in the order, Clayton Good, Sakata, Hinson, and Calkins are still currently top 10. Pending any major shuffles here. A little bit cleaner in stage number 2 after the attrition. It looks like Calkins will hold on with Barnes slapping the wall there. As this will end 2 stages in.
Barnes hit the wall there, and I was thinking maybe the 27 is going to go and snag away some 10th place points. But Crowder, I just want to say this, JP. Been great on the short stints. But with that damage, if he can't get it repaired in time, look out for the 20. Been showing the pace here. Last 4 or 5 laps. 10th or here or there. That's all it takes.
Absolutely does. And hey, at this point, the entire field is going to bunch up and gather up here, if you will. Once again, we'll bundle up and we'll have less than 30 laps of race to go here, Bradley. And obviously, fuel is going to be an interesting factor. We already talked about that. It's going to at least be a one-stopper from here after this.
Yeah, longest stage of the race. It could even be a 2-stop. And if you burn those tire sets that we had available and these cautions, or maybe trying to manipulate strategy for the stage, it could backfire on you later in this race. You know, some of these drivers that maybe have gained, 6, 7+ positions. We got 16 gained by Christian Barnes. We saw that wall slap, gonna probably lose a little bit. There's a few drivers that didn't start up here in the top 10 that have worked their way up here just based off of tires and strategy. And this is the longest portion of this race. We've been doing 20 lap stints. Now it's 30. And if you're not conservative enough, you can see yourself down pit road with the white flag out.
Indeed, and right now, this entire pack getting ready to take those pit stops. About an hour plus into the racing action now at this point here tonight. So as they all get themselves rolling, pit stop time. It's just about seconds away here, Bradley, here on VSPEED. It's been an interesting night for the Slim Chickens Cup Series for its first race of the chase.
First race of the chase. We knew it was going to be a shakeup, JP, but we didn't expect the cautions. That's what really shook the race up individually as they come onto pit road. That's where all of these different strategies came into play. I think a lot of these drivers approached it with, we very rarely get cautions at road courses. We'll approach it with, this is the lap of pitting, and that all got thrown out the window right at the start.
And as you would expect, everybody is going to come down here for pit stops. Fuel down is here. And let's find out how many take tires and how many do not. As you can see, Crowder is amongst those, taking some Goodyear Eagles. It looks like just about everybody will, in fact, take the tire sets. No major gambles here. Try and save a set and work from there.
Oh boy,
Oh,
Crowder
the
is
work
going to take the repair.
Yeah, he's taking the chance to fix the car. You're right. Kinzer, Paz, Lewis with a race off pit road.
That might be a mistake.
I think he would have the speed regardless of the damage, but now Crowder is going to be well down the order.
This is well over 2 minutes of repair, JP. This is a long time to be on pit lane. And you've got cars that just got a wave around that are back onto this lead lap. They could possibly, depending on how long it takes Ashton to get this fixed, he can lose spots to those drivers as well. Back to 13th, this isn't quite as severe as I thought it would be. But still, that's a lot of damage to repair right now. I don't like it. I don't like that call.
And now this has really changed the complexion of how this is going to look for the rest of the race here, isn't it? Kinzer was one of the two drivers matching speed to Crowder earlier on in the race. And now it becomes a question, does he keep that pace up here? Paz going to have a chance to, at the very least, battle off the rip.
Yeah, Ricky Paz, one of the few cars that was in the 109 bracket, yet to hit the 108 column, which, Justin, I don't know about you, but when I watch some of these guys get around these road courses, how they do it, there's always just that approach to every single corner. They have this, you know, to a T. You blink, you miss it, and sometimes I wonder where they get these extra. I'm just happy to be in the same ballpark, on the same racetrack as some of these guys. How they do it, I don't know. But there's always one or two guys that just get it, and they keep getting it every week.
All right, 1 to go. Marino Jr. amongst those who topped off under the caution this time. Amongst those waved around Kime and Ullman. They all make their decisions on how they're going to attack this run. Crowder's in again.
Didn't get it all fixed, and that's what I was worried about. This is a lot of damage to get repaired. Might end up falling all the way to the tail end of the line here, back to 20th.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting chase now, to say the very least, after this turn of events. I think Crowder topped off.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thinking about the fuel strat.
Okay, well, now I feel a little bit better about this situation. Just maybe 1% better. I think it's going to take more than a top off, but that does help with extending the run and maybe being on, you know, spreading this field out, get a little better position when we hit pit road. But still, that's a lot to gain. And when this field spreads out, you're also putting yourself at the mercy of somebody making a mistake. There's 16 cars in front of you that can mess up on this restart.
So once again, it's Kinzer and Paz, Lewis and Rose, Good and Takata, Barnes and Calkins, Hinson and Cole. They're going to be inside your top 10 for the upcoming restart. Here from Watkins Glen International. An interesting time here for the field. Let's find out who establishes control. Coming at 28 laps to go. We've seen a bit of chaos off some of these starts already here tonight.
Longest stint of the night here, JP. Let's see how it shapes up.
Here we go. It's time for the restart. Green, green, green. A few drivers catching up at the back of the field, but the front of it is battling. Already clear is Kinzer, and he's sent it pretty deep to do so. He's running off and away. Everyone else survives the opening corner.
They said Ricky Paz was fast, but just couldn't find that 1 second. And I think right there in turn 1, Kinzer showed him where it was.
And right now you're seeing how much Pat's trying to defend. And Lewis had to adjust mid-corner. And a little bit of chaos.
Wow.
Look at that smoke. A lot of drivers sliding in the back. That includes drivers like Gavin Hinson, who's had a rough night.
Henson was up in the top 10 for that stage, and man, it's back to reset now. That's a wheel hop if I've ever seen one.
See that right here. Aaron Klein and Good had issues as well. Let's see what happened to the 39. Already one driver backing up, and then side by side here.
Yeah, back end just hops and sends it around. I had a different angle at this, where you could see where they locked it up. Henson had the 53, probably being mindful of that entry into the bus stop, but watch this car just kind of leave the ground right there, and there's nothing you can do to save that.
Oh, there is not. And now the field's kind of split up here already. The leader's off by 2.5, 2.6 seconds. The main pack is 7 seconds back of the pack. This pack you're seeing here was Paz, Lewis, and Rose that have all stayed pretty well. Then you have this Hornet's Nest. Bollinger's the one that's at the head of it.
Remember, Michael Cole had that spin in stage 1. The car got destroyed. Back into the top 10. A little bit of strategy, a little bit of repair. Keep hammering at it. That's all you got to do. Eventually, you're going to hit something. Hopefully, you hit the top 10. And that's where Michael Cole is right now.
Yeah, and this, remember, we've seen already a couple drivers. Oh, yes, indeed. Here we go again. There goes Dixon. Able to keep it straight and back going.
It's broken. The front end is smashed. And he might get more damage there. That's close. That car is not responding to steering input anymore.
Yet again, chaos reigning supreme. Let's see what happened.
He's at the tail end of this group. I'm not sure if he just missed the break point. Yeah, he did. It was like brake fade and into the wall. Did a great job of not taking anybody out. We got to shout out that, JP. I mean, you got 5 cars in front of you right there, and that is the equivalent of landing a 747. You come down that hill at 190 miles per hour. Oh, that could have been way worse.
Meanwhile, the lead's now to 4 seconds. It grew by nearly double in the span of 2 laps. If anything, Kinser's not majorly saving here, it feels like, with the way things are shuffling out. He's trying to make sure to grow this gap as much as possible. By the way, Crowder is up to 6th.
I'm hearing some clutch pedal here. Maybe a little strategy right on board with Ricky Paz. Not sure exactly where they're saving, just heard it there, but you can hear it through the carousel on the clutch pedal. Already thinking about strategy and making this in one stop to the end.
It's going to be a huge part of the steps here. Save gas, trying to extend the runs, if you will. You want an opportunity in Paz. Trying to think big picture here as you see him play around with the corners. Paz has had some good speed in his time here in the Cup Series. He's picked up a win. He's got himself 3 top 5s as well in those 7 starts previous.
I think it's going to take a little bit more. These are very shallow saves. And unfortunately, where those saves are seem to be right around the brake mark for the 99. I think if you back that up a little bit more, you stand to save more fuel. You gotta kind of bring that car back at least 100 feet before you're actually going to press that brake. Also, on the flip side of that, JP, when you push that clutch pedal, you know about engine braking. We all know about that. But engine braking burns fuel as well. So you're relying on the car to slow down by releasing the throttle. When you push the clutch pedal, that goes away.
All that's to say as they run 110s here. Marino Jr. and Crowder, who both topped off into the last caution flag, are both faster than them in the next pack. They are both chipping away this gap on an average, at least last time, by 6 to 8 tenths. Then you have this choo-choo train all connected together still in a line.
Last lap times on the left-hand side of your screen. You got a few drivers back into the 109s. And check it in there with the 44. Kudos to Crowder. I am astonished right now that the 44 has made it back to the top 5 this fast. Talking about, what, 10 positions and just, what, 10 laps?
Yeah. Near immediate on the charge, to say the very least, to get back up to the pack. And as a result, get up and get towards the front.
It's looking more realistic. And also that top off on fuel, JP. Don't forget about that. And repair the damage. The car was bad fast when it was clean. A little off the pace. Fighting with Kenzer there when the car had right front damage. So, I'm sorry I doubted you, Crowder. I'm sorry.
Trying to prove everybody wrong, I guess you could say, here tonight. And right now, he's kind of doing that with the way he's paced himself here tonight, hasn't he?
Oh, boy. I believe that was Clayton Good that just went off the racetrack there.
He's done. Take a look.
This was in that, I believe he references the choo-choo train. I think it's going to be off turn 7 where something goes wrong.
Had a couple of different rough moments here tonight, and then this happens on ascend. That was not great. Dave for barrier hit.
Locked up the wheels as well. And you could tell that Clayton knew he made the mistake there, sending it to the inside. As soon as it happened, locked up the brakes. Unfortunate. Actually gave a little bit of damage to the car to the outside as well. But something else to think about here, Justin. The 20 is out here putting down 108 still. Like, borderline 108s at times. Not saving any fuel. At least to my knowledge. There's nothing on the telemetry for Kenzer that indicates I'm in save mode. You had Ricky Paz we showed on board there earlier that said, yeah, I'm going to save here and there. But for Kenzer, it is full wide open all the way around. 7 turns. Are you questioning if they have to make 2 stops?
That is an interesting question. I don't think they're going to need 2 stops, at least by the number. At least that's my opinion. If you make it a 15 to go, which seems to be the limit for most of the field tonight, I think you're okay. Now, here's the tough part. You're about a lap off that number, maybe for some of the drivers here. So I think those who topped off is a lot more safer, as I think Cole just indicated a pit stop coming up.
And so for Cole, that means maybe they can't. Maybe next time by. I don't. Looking forward here. That's interesting.
Yep, we'll say River Hayes still top 10 is a bit of a comeback and then some, you can say at the very least here. What's been a roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely. And saw the 81 have problems very early in this race. That big pile up there started in 12s was part of that track blocker at the beginning and recovers back to 9th position. With the situation with the strategy flips, and I think every driver's adapted to that differently, JP, to overcome maybe the situation they might have created on accident.
Potentially here, absolutely. But I think really the main thing is a lot of these drivers obviously want to be up in the field, leading laps, logging laps. But hey, then you have the 01, for example, and Phil and doing well. Bollinger is in. That was only 11 laps in. I don't know if that's even going to be a 1 stop for him now.
Yeah, I'm starting to question it more and more, JP. I think that these guys are going to have to make 2 stops. If I'm Ricky Paz right now, I'm going to look like a genius if that's the case. I will give up whatever I have to do. Now, you don't want to give up too much. I think maybe when you get into that 35, 40-second threshold, then that's too much. Right now, we're still hovering around 10 seconds. And if you cut this down to 1 stop, that is plenty of time.
Look at how much the lap traffic's coming to play. Ricky Paz going to squeak on by here. That's already with Rose and Crowder on the rear end of him. They have all gained up for second already.
He's saving that much. and they're saving that little. I think Rose, Crowder, of course, he can't afford it. He's got to come from the back of 16th spot in this restart and race his way back up there to even be in the talk for this race. So up to 4th, doing a fantastic job, has the 2 in front of him. Then it's Colin Kenzer, who's not saving. If I was Crowder right now, I'm gonna balance this next 5 or 6 laps out. I don't have to force anything. I'm gonna sit here and maybe save a little bit of fuel and make sure. But again, JP, the 43 coming down pit road and the 53 and all of these cars, it's just leading me to believe we're not gonna make this in one stop. It's gonna be so close.
And obviously, as we keep on hitting that drum, Zach White of Unsosa just exited the race. He was down the order in 20th. Kenzer's just on a Sunday drive, if you will, except it's on a Friday. Compared to that, some of the other playoff drivers, / chase drivers should say, John Ullman's had a rough one, hasn't he?
Started 24th. We talked about him in the top 10. Looked like things were looking up, and now back to 18th, a lap down. And unfortunately, this field's spread out. We're not going to get a track blocker that's going to bring out a yellow. Let alone we got more than we bargained for as caution count tonight.
I think we kind of did. Especially, it's not as significant as it could have been. But with the way this race has gone, attrition was high. At the start at the very least, or at least starting to snowball with a lot of the drivers starting to fade out of the race. Hayes, Bryan, and Sakata all ducked in this time for reference. Green light on fuel estimates coming a couple laps away from now. Rose just said they might be having to come in the next lap.
Top 3 driver. There's the 47.15 on your pylon. Ryan Rose. JP, this now that's short.
That's only 14 laps on the run. Kinzer also in, right? So obviously top off might be, and indeed will be, the smarter call for the big picture. It was that close. Ricky Paz has done a good job stretching fuel runs a couple times.
You don't have to be the fastest if you can go the furthest. That is so many times true on VSPEED. We've seen drivers that just play the chess match. And I can always appreciate that when you have a guy outwit somebody that's just the brute force, the raw pace, and you have a guy that sits back and says, no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick to my game plan. This was how I was going to do it all along, and I'm going to commit to this. And they believe in it. And every lap that goes by, they believe in it a little bit more and a little bit more. And when you have another car come down pit road like we just saw, Ashton Crowder, the fastest car on the racetrack, that makes you feel even better. This is on the mark, though. This is very close now. This is splitting hairs.
This makes you feel really solid about your chances, I think. These drivers, all 14, 15 laps in, as Paz nearly going to 16.
I think now this is about the tire advantage, so that would help even more. Paz has been a second off, but he can maintain this gap. And if he executes pit lane perfectly, no reason that Ricky Paz can't have the lead here. And again, Colin Kenzer, who had a massive lead, might not be a factor unless he starts to save fuel. We're going to keep beating this drum, folks. This is where it is right now. This is Watkins Glen at its finest.
Here we go. Hearing a pitting call on the radio. Here comes Paz. He's in this time by. This, along with Christian Barnes, will see them possibly in the window to make it. Well, everyone else is a little bit tight on gas. Barnes is right there in third.
And this is the strategy that Barnes had to play to get back up here. Was not a top 3 car starting so deep in the field. Had speed to get some stage points, but has had to adapt. And looks like gonna go another lap. So Barnes did come down and top off with fuel there during that last caution. Didn't really have anything to lose, was kind of deep in the field, so this could pay off in positive track position as well. Again, I'm watching here. The 20 got back ahead of Paz with the execution. But does Colin Kenzer have enough to make it to the end?
That is a huge question with the race that could be his if he's able to keep composure. He's got 14, 15 seconds on everybody. He's not in. Go ahead.
I was saying, I think we look at the telemetry here to see if there's any clutching, any fuel save.
Obviously, keeping the gears pretty steady. Yep. Look. Let it rev pretty much downward on the gear shifts pretty low.
And so clutching is one method. Some drivers maybe stay in a different gear. They might upshift a little sooner to make sure that the RPM stay a little lower. There's different ways to do this. Some of them are more subtle than others. You know, Ricky Paz is really obvious, and then Kenzer might be doing something a little bit with throttle input just to keep it fresh and save, you know, a 10th a lap. There's so many different ways to do that, JP, and some of it's a little more telling than others. But I'm still a little bit concerned. That didn't really convince me. If they're running the same pace that they did last stint, this is going to backfire.
Yeah, this is coming up to 12 laps to go after all. Mind you, Crowder's still providing pressure for second, yeah, but it's a lot further back than where you expect him to be, especially with how he was. And there's some
track.
Reggie Kime.
John Ullman also off the track in the bus stop, and that was Kime there in turn 6. So back it up here. This happened simultaneously. Watch Kime coming off the carousel. Don't know if they had help with the 7 of Alex Young. No help, just locked it up.
He's done it a couple times tonight.
Then Ullman was already in the grass here, so we'll back that up one more time through the bus stop. This is most likely just hitting those rumble strips, sending the car a little bit wonky and trying to overcorrect. There it is. That's an impact with the wall too, and the day gets worse for John Ullman.
Not been a pretty night for the 34. Bollinger just came down for a second stop of this stint. So the 2-stop strategy is underway. Barnes, we already talked about taking some service. He only had to come down a lap or 2 ago. Gavin Hinson came down 2 laps ago. So a few of the drivers are already in the plan for if they need to come down again. They're already taking it now and getting it over with.
Well, they can make it to the end, right?
Right.
So, what does that say now? Because this was the domino effect that brought the 99 into pit, or not the 99, but the 44, and then you saw Kenzer come in and Ryan Rose. It's just domino after domino. 10 to go. There's 5 on the stint. This is 15 for total. I'm gonna bring it up again. See if there's any kind of RPM save here.
It's time through. Not not noticing in the 90 at least. Don't see him short shifting either.
Yeah, up to us is that's pretty consistent with the times. Last time by 109.7. Brandon Paz ran at 109.803. Still has that 2-lap advantage on the fuel. Now, I'm not seeing anything that leads me to believe that the 20, and that might be just confidence that they're going to make it to the end. I'm not entirely sure here, but the stint has been tricky with 14 to just, if you can stretch at 16, and that was Paz on the clutch for a lot of laps to get that far. So we can see the white flag come out, and we can see the 20 go through the carousel with the lead of 16 seconds and coast across the line. I mean, it's still a pretty big gap.
Nine to go now for the 20. For reference, Bollinger's in front of the leader. Same for Barnes here. As this time, John Ullman and Alonso finished service. River Hayes also had to come down again. That's why he's also blended in back here near a full track back. Here is a look at Hinson meanwhile.
So I'm looking at drivers that have this a strategy of one stop in mind. You have the 27 of Barnes, who's got a few drivers ahead that are deep on this stint, matching numbers with Colin Kinzer and Jonah Bryan. There's a few that are just 8 laps into this stint. Barnes could gain those positions and up in the top 5 with this, but there's really nothing happening in proximity in the top 10. So River Hayes, closest battle here, going to go to the inside, and Bollinger. There's really no passing happening unless it's pit stops at this point.
Yep, and I think this is kind of the nature of a road course race or a track like this, right? It's normal to see this type of separation at this point. Obviously,
it's a big place.
Exactly. You have a lot of opportunity to spread your wings, if you will, here.
That's a massive facility, and it's very easy to get spread out. And when things go according to plan, Justin, where we don't have the cautions, the track blockers, and we can run the race under green as intended. Ricky Paz still on the clutch pedal, though. That makes me feel even better about his chances, though, that he's still having to save even coming onto pit road. That tells me Colin Kinzer's definitely not going to make it. I don't see the math here that he can make it to the end of this race. Watch this with Paz.
Big difference in approach compared to the 20, absolutely. You can see it with the inputs.
And not only that, but you've got the clutch pedal where you could gain right there. Just yeah, you can see it. And I don't know that it's making a huge difference, but on that last stint was able to extend the run 16 laps, almost 17. It's more than we've seen all night, and the fact that Paz still has to do that means that was right on the mark. That was right on the money as far as numbers go. Don't be surprised, folks, if we see a 99 in victory lane. And again, just trying to keep that in everybody's mind. If you're a Kinzer fan right now, if you're cheering him on at home, we hope it works out. This is a massive lead. The 20 cars had raw pace, but there you go. That confirms it, JP.
Oh boy, and now the attention goes to Paz, and better yet, Crowder pit later than the 99.
Yep. By 1 lap, and also in save mode, and has lost some ground. 2.5 seconds. Really backing up the corner entries. Might be saving up to get it in the green. When you see that fuel calculator say you're good for that lap and a half, now 2 laps, then you start to push the car. That's where you make this 2.5 seconds back up. Mind games.
Yep, that sense of urgency yet again, back to a pretty high peak. By the way, Rose 7th. One of those we mentioned on the top off is passing those who didn't pit yet.
It's John Ullman in the 34. And even though John has had a bad night, the car's still on the racetrack, and we've seen a lot of attrition. We started this race with 30 cars, added +1 there after stage 1. And John Ullman is in 16th with a damaged car that's seen a lot tonight. So shout out John Ullman for sticking this out and could still stand to gain a position or two in the whole scheme here.
Yeah, and that might help him out for wherever he is position-wise by the end of the night, mind you. Ullman was 7th coming into tonight. We're at 5 laps to go. Brian just had to come down. The 99 for reference is all the way in the carousel. As the laps tick away.
All right, help me out here, JP. What do you think the odds are that Crowder can go back and win this after repairing that damage? You watch the 44 go from 16th up to about 4th when we hit those pit stops from the first round in the stage 3. But now it's 2 seconds separating him and Ricky Paz, who's been saving fuel. I think Crowder a little late to that commitment and has had to save a little extra. Hasn't been on pace. Maybe didn't predict that that would be a thing that they had to do tonight, and not able to run the line like they were earlier in the race.
Honestly, it depends, quite simply, on how well the former NASCAR driver's been able to save with the course to run and knowing all the tricks with the car. He, I think, is taking a bit of a approach that someone like a Garrett Maines would take these days. Back up the corner in trying to do the lift and coast. Remember the road car type of braking method? It's the way I've noticed it here.
Yeah.
Where he lets it coast in a little bit longer and then hits the brake. It allows you to save a little bit of gas. I've heard drivers extend their life of fuel runs by 2 to 4 laps by doing that.
Now, off throttle time, it's less of a fuel burn, but when you're on the clutch and really lower those RPMs, we've seen Paz doing that. Again, there's so many different approaches to this. It's insane. I mean, I've seen, well, you've watched here Saturday Night Racing. Like, I've seen Bailey Turner do some things behind the wheel of a car to save fuel that just don't make sense. And watching the esports across the board with the Coca-Cola E-Series, some of those guys can extend runs 4 or 5 laps at 1.5 miles, and you're just like, how? Where is the fuel?
Where's the mileage? Yeah. And I think it takes some bravery to really do it.
Confidence too, right? You've planned it, you've practiced it, and that's where I was saying I don't think Crowder really expected this tonight, that this would be that scenario. Thought maybe they wouldn't have to chase down. I think that's the other part too that we're kind of alluding, is they had to make so many positions. He had to gain from 16th up to 2nd, and you don't have time to save fuel doing that. Three to go, 2 to go across the line.
Yeah, running out of laps. Paz still maintaining the gap. Somebody went well off the barrier and towed. Michael Cole just finished up service. Glen has been off the track for a while. For reference, Kinzer down in 3rd, hoping for some luck. You see a couple of the others as they search. Look at this. Cole came out right next to the 20.
That's going to set Kinzer back just a little bit through the S's. Looking at 7.8 seconds to catch up to Crowder. And it was a splash and dash here for the 20 to get back out on the racetrack. Just enough fuel to make it to the end. But Ricky Paz is about to take the white flag with a 1.8 second lead over the dominant car for stage 1 and stage 2.
Here we go, coming to the final time around. Ricky Paz looking to pull off the victory. He needs to survive on fuel for one more lap. Final time around, 2.45 miles.
If there was one car on this racetrack that I'll guarantee without a doubt the 99 is going to make it all the way. Ashton Crowder, a little questionable on this stint. With an extra lap on here, this could be really close for the 44. Colin Kinzer could catch up. But I think the 99's got it locked in here, JP. It's time for victory lane, and surprise, surprise, when you come to a road course, you play some strategy.
It takes some strategy to win these types of races, and Ricky Paz came into this as one of those who made the chase because drivers, well, quite simply, were unavailable or had injury. But tonight, Ricky Paz proves he deserves a spot like Crowder does. Started late in the season, has been fast on the onset. Ricky Paz takes the checker to win at the Glen. Ricky Paz gets his second victory of the season and already celebrates.
We're not worried about any incident points with a move like that, the strategy call like that. Earned every ounce of fuel, and that's probably all the more they had left.
And obviously Paz, I think, ran out of gas. I don't think he's getting the car around any further. He's done.
Perfect. Fuel calculator did its job. Crew chief, whoever's on that box, the mindset, perfect.
And so as Ricky Paz steadies out there, Crowder and Kinzer on the podium. Everyone else coming across the line, Barnes and Bollinger amongst those. And we end up with half the field out of the race tonight, Bradley. It was a bit of an attrition one at times, but in the end, the 99 was able to survive it all, weren't they?
Yeah, it was a fantastic job. And again, the chess match at 180 miles per hour all night long with a 72-lap stint. And stage 1 being caution fest, stage 2 being a little bit more like we were intending, and then stage 3 being the longest of all the fuel runs. I questioned it, you questioned it. Ricky Paz knew exactly what he was doing to get this victory.
Indeed he did. And as all the drivers finish up their moments, we'll take a quick break as Ricky Paz gets pushed back to the start and finish line to celebrate. Well, you're watching VSPEED for tonight's coverage of the Mystic Racing League.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage for post-race here from Watkins Glen for the Heatwave 176 at the Glen for the Slim Chickens Cup Series. As this evening put on an interesting fight where it had some twists and turns we didn't expect, but Ricky Paz is the one who's able to stretch the fuel just enough by literally about a few hundred feet to get a celebration in. He wins by a second over Ashton Crowder. Kinzer put up 22 laps led also tonight. He looked to be on his interesting call, but with the two fuel stops at the end of the race, he ends up finishing third. Marino Jr. claws his way back to fourth over Dustin Lewis tonight, with Rose down in sixth, Calkins quietly in seventh, Ryan down in the eighth position, River Hayes down in ninth after a horrific start to the night. Same for Christian Barnes, he was 10th.
That spot is going to go to Colin Bollinger, gained 6 positions. Christian Barnes shout out there on the 17 positions gain. To go back to 12th spot was Sakata in the 26, 4 spots gained. So a lot of big movers here with the attrition and maybe a combination of strategy. Michael Cole's going to finish at 13th with Gavin Henson in 14th. 39 had an up and down day. And speaking of up and down days, you go to 7th with Alex Young, but then it's John Ullman who stuck it out here tonight to get that 16th place finish. That car was damaged so bad. Don't even know how he salvaged the day, but 17th spot for Reggie Kime, another car that had a lot of tough breaks. Joshua Gillen off the racetrack there towards the end for a few moments, ends up 10 laps down. Clayton Good, 22 laps down, definitely out of this race. And Zach White, this is where we start getting into that attrition we talked about.
Yeah, pull it down at one point. Same for Dixon and Burke down 21st and 22nd. Collier down in 23rd. Maupin Nelson, the top 25. You're talking 40-plus laps down here. Boston, 43 down. Underhill, 45. Fiftner, roller coaster overnight, is a chase driver, 28th. Baker and Daly in the top 30. And we ended up having Zachary King join in late. And Zach Roethlisberger, the 92 car, did not even turn a lap tonight. So top to bottom at the running order here tonight for this evening's coverage. And what was a multi-caution affair. But in the end, Ricky Paz is able to come out on top. Stretch the gas just enough, Ricky. How are you feeling?
What a race, Justin. Can we talk about this one? That was quite the experience. I was just telling the boys in the waiting room here, we were backwards and like 28th place on lap 1. So definitely had our work cut out for us. But listen, no one comes between me and a fuel save. There's nothing more that I love than running probably like 85%. So no, it was a good race. Hats off to Colin and Ashton. Definitely faster, but sometimes luck prevails and strategy prevails, and I'm happy to be on top.
Well, obviously, you mentioned some of the strategy prevailing here tonight, but what was your emotions over the course of the race, especially since you're a part of those in the incidents to start the day with the turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get upset and frustrated, right? But you just got to let it go. You got to compartmentalize. And if I sit here and be mad the whole day, could have been backwards and in the garage or in the infield care center. So just kind of let it go, right? Clean car, had enough fuel, had enough tires, and just give me a chance and we'll make it happen. And then that's all I asked for, and it's what we got, Justin.
How do you feel about the next race? Full distance for 2 weeks in a row on Sundays, starting with Darlington.
Going to be a tough one. Going to be a very interesting one. Darlington is a great track, obviously one of our crown jewels, and we're going to have our work cut out for us again. I mean, we're starting 100 points back because of the chase, right? We're 14th, I think. So going to be a big day for stages and just maximizing points. But hey, making the most out of what you're given. And, that's what this team does best. And don't ever count me out.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Got to say thanks to the spotter, John Stellard. Great guy. We've been running here for a few weeks. It's an honor to be in the chase here, and we're gonna make a run for it. So big thanks to him for being on board. Got to thank the boys at Votive and the Votive Racing League and the Votive Racing team. Super tight knit group that helps push each other to get better day after day. I got to shout out the service workers here in Northwest Indiana. We had some really bad storms. They're calling it a land hurricane. Hit us on Tuesday, and I had no power up until this morning at 8 a.m. So lucky to be here and lucky to be racing. And big thanks to all those guys that aren't seeing their families. You know, they're working hard around the clock to restore power in the Chicagoland area. So big thanks to them. Got to say hi to the family, say hi to my fiance. Love you. Can't wait to get married. And thanks to Brandon and the Mystic Racing League and all the boys back at the shop. And thank you, Justin and Bradley.
Congratulations on the run. Ricky Paz coming away with a win here tonight. Ashton Crowder came away in second, had to fix damage at one point, comes back to P2 to talk to Bradley.
Ashton, I gotta ask, you know, when you start to question the fuel strategy, you didn't really have time to save fuel. You had damage to repair. You put yourself a little bit further back, but that restart there that gave you that damage, it looked like it hindered the car a lot. You started to get hounded by Colin Kenzer more than you probably wanted to be. Do you regret that decision on repairing the damage, or do you feel like it just, you know, it is what it is?
No, I don't regret getting it fixed at all. Yeah, I mean, I was really, really solid, I felt like, up until that point, but I'm friends with Zach, so I can say this and he won't be too terribly mad, but I just don't really I don't really know what he was doing. Honestly, it just really made me upset, more than anything, because that was like his first lap on the racetrack, because he didn't do practice, didn't do qualifying, and then came out there, and then like kind of looked like he was letting me go, and I was like, nice, you know, like thank you and everything. Like I was about to, ow, I just bent my finger back, but I was about to key up and say thank you, and then he just turned really hard left and killed me. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Out of everything, that's really disappointing. But it did give me a little bit more flexibility on strategy, which was nice. But you know, we had to gain more than a second, let's say, to get up to a point where I could have a chance to challenge Ricky, and we lost by a second. So yeah, that altogether is really disappointing. But when you're disappointed with a second, your day didn't go too terribly bad. So I definitely just sound like I'm whining. So it's all
Well,
good.
Ashton, hold on here, because you had 2 stage wins, you had second place, but you also had different strategies. Stage 1 was an asterisk here at a road course where we had 4 cautions come out there, I believe, and the race was never really settled. Then we go into stage 2 where you get a little more familiar with maybe your game plan and settle in. But then that damage that puts you behind the 8 ball. I don't really equate this to whining. I think it's more of just adapting to the situation that's dealt to you.
Well, Bradley, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, the first stage, that was incredible. I didn't really know kind of what to think about that one, from like a strategy standpoint, because like you get a bunch of cautions and you kind of think like maybe I can take a set of tires here and then almost like flip the like next pit stop at the stage, like maybe pit a little early to do whatever. But since we're in the chase, the points matter way more. So you know, you try to do the best you can there. But then stage 2 was fairly straightforward, even with the damage, and then you're kind of just, at least from my point of view, I didn't really care too much what happened stage 2 as long as I was able to have a fairly quick pit stop at the stage break, and then you know, if I was up front, I was just gonna make it seem like I was trying as hard as I could, but would have been saving the entire time. So like strategy wise for the final stage, I knew what I was gonna do pretty much the whole night. But yeah, like you said, the damage really made it rough. But I got to use the bathroom because of it, and you know, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation that we've been here in the booth as well. That's every commercial break. Just so you know,
Long race.
that's sometimes that's what you got to do. But yeah, it was a long one here. It's a big track. It was a long one, Definitely one of the dominant cars of the day. Started first, 2 stages, second place, and 35 laps led. Ashton, is there anyone you have in mind to shout out?
Yeah, everybody at Alpha Prime, shout out to them. We got a pretty nice P10 in Newton, Iowa. That was sick. Shout out to actually, I want to give a big shout out to Trevor Rally House in West Des Moines, Iowa, because he rocked. Had a pretty long, lengthy conversation with him. He ended up going to the same high school as Caitlin Clark, and was a huge NASCAR fan. So we ended up talking about Caitlin and her family and everything, which was awesome for me. And then we talked about NASCAR, which was also awesome for me, and I suppose awesome for him. I don't know. So I want to give Trevor, West Des Moines, Iowa Rally House, a big shout out there. Then you guys for putting on the broadcast. I was in a channel with Michael Daly, but as Justin said earlier, he left when you guys pulled me in for that stage interview, so he must have gotten scared. But then, everybody in the league, this was a really good race. I had a lot of fun, and I want to also give a really big shout out, to my family, everybody, my girlfriend watching, grandparents downstairs watching too, and then Ricky for that badass race win. I have no idea how he was able to split that up 13-13, but shout out to him because it was amazing.
Fantastic race here, Ashton, and we'll see you just a week's time on Sunday if you're coming back.
Yes,
at
sir.
The Lady in Black.
Love that place. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you there.
All right, Ashton Crowder, second place finisher here tonight at Watkins Glen, and arguably the dominant car of the day, Justin.
Definitely so. And with that being said, Colin Kinzer was also in the same ballpark. We seen Ashton Crowder comes away P3. Colin, talk us through that strategy decision where you ended up going for the extra stop strat.
Yeah, that was definitely a disaster. I was putting really good pace out front after the end of stage 2, and I just got out in front by a mile, and I was like, man, this doesn't seem right at all. Like, wow, I wasn't this quick in the first 2 stages over the field, and then I realized that they were 100% fuel saving, and it was too late at that point. So I mean, all I could do was just cry about it in the car while trying to finish the race.
Well, then, how would you describe the confidence, though, about the pace? Because you and Crowder were toe-to-toe despite that.
Yeah, Crowder had a little bit on me, definitely, until the end of stage 2, where I think he picked up damage, he said. But yeah, I mean, pace was strong, happy about that. But just got to make better strategy decisions at the end of the day.
That being said, we heard before that you plan to run more of these races. You plan to run the full distance races the next 2 weeks?
I have no idea if I'm going to be here next week, but the week after, 100% I will be here. So looking forward to that.
Any shout you'd like to give here tonight?
Yeah, shout out to the team, Rowdy Motorsports, and the owner, Chris, for letting me run the car. Wouldn't be here without him. So yeah, shout out to him. And yeah, I mean, that's it.
Congrats on the effort here tonight.
Thank you.
Once again, Colin Kinzer coming away with the top 3 here today. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on VSPEED. Your final thoughts tonight, Bradley, on the efforts here as the first race in the chase is complete.
I love it when a plan comes together. I believe that's the 18 quote of the day for Ricky Paz. When you see numbers, Justin, that just makes sense to you, and maybe you're the only one that sees it, you commit to that strategy. Like you said, Colin Kinzer was like, where am I? Am I the fastest car ever? Until he realized everyone else was fuel saving. And that's why Ricky Paz is a genius. Getting that victory. Again, this place takes discipline. It takes practice. And ultimately, you got to think outside the box. That's where we're at right now in this chase. You have to do things that no one else is doing, and the 99 did that here tonight.
And it's going to be an interesting time when we go racing for crown jewels the next 2 weeks. Again, Darlington is the next track on the docket. If you look at your calendars, be sure to tune in. That will be a Sunday race once again for this series. That will be on August the 23rd. Again, be sure to tune in here on VSPEED for that one. But it's time to say goodnight for tonight's coverage of Slim Chickens Cup Series. For my colleague at the booth tonight, Bradley Cooper, for a camera builder in Dougie Beard, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching tonight's coverage of the Slim Chickens Cup Series. Congratulations to Ricky Paz, the winner of the Heat Wave 176 at the Glen.